Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Impact Tuesdays webinar. We are going to go ahead and get started in about 3 minutes, right at 10 o'clock. So go ahead and grab some coffee or whatever you like and sit tight, and I will see you in a few minutes. Okay, it is exactly 10 o'clock. So I want to be respectful of everyone's time and go ahead and get started. So I hope that everyone is doing as well as can be. I know that school started yesterday for those of us who are in Palm Beach County. So I hope that everyone is off to a good start with school. I am Jennifer Kryshka, CEO of the Jewish Women's Foundation of the Greater Palm Beaches. We are dedicated to advancing the status of women and girls in Florida and in Israel. We are a funder. We provide education and advocacy events, and we have 2 leadership development programs that we run for teens and for young women. So today we will be speaking with Laura Askowitz, who is the CEO of KidSafe Foundation. So they are based here in Palm Beach County, and I am excited to talk with Laura today. So Laura, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. I just want to remind everyone that if you have a question for Laura, please go ahead and use the Q&A feature to submit your question, which is located probably on the bottom of your screen. All right, so Laura, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. We had a nice little chat before, but yes, it's good to see you. I wish I could see everybody today. I can't wait till we can do these things in person. I know
Agreed.
everyone says that, but holy cow, we're all over COVID. So
I know. So let's go ahead and start talking about KidSafe.
okay.
So, for those of us who are not as familiar with the mission and the work that you do, if you could give us just some background on what you do and the great programs that you have, and then we'll talk about, of course, like the COVID piece and how you've pivoted,
Yes.
During the pandemic.
Wonderful. So KidSafe, for those of you who know and those who don't know, we've been in the community for over a decade, educating children and their grown-ups on personal safety to prevent child sexual abuse, childhood trauma, and child trafficking. That's what we've done through prevention education that teaches empowerment, a child's inner voice, listening to themselves, and the resources and tools to go get help. So at the same time that we do that, we teach adults the language that their children are learning in the school setting. We teach them how to hear, really hear, which is different than listen. We all know how to sometimes put down that cell phone and really hear what the child is saying. Because while KidSafe dreams, as everyone that's watching this now, of a world where children aren't harmed, uh, that's an unattainable dream, probably, but what we can work on is prevention, harder targets, and resiliency. Because ironically, the big thing I want to impart on everyone today is the prevention education we teach, most importantly, imparts a resiliency on a child so that they are not a permanent victim no matter what happens, and they can stop cycles by getting help.
Okay. And I'd like to hear more about the specifics of how your program works. So I know that you work with the school system in Palm Beach County.
We do. So actually, maybe I'll pull up the slide and show
Sure.
you the programs that we have, and I'll go through them.
Yeah, that would be great.
Wonderful. Okay. Let's start from beginning. It stopped, it said shared window closed. So let me just go over and I'll put up the slide later.
Okay.
Yes, KidSafe, in its Empower Me KidSafe programming, teaches children and adults. So the children's program historically has been on site in the schools, teaching grades K through 5 through an 8-week program. So we go into the classroom, and for about 30 minutes each classroom, we teach the children fundamentals like circle of safe adults, their inner safety voice, safe touch versus unsafe touch, good secret versus bad secret, all the tools they need to communicate. It has been a beloved program. We have safety books that, when we're fortunate to find the funding, we're able to add to the program, and it has been beloved. It's always a challenge finding our success stories because it's a prevention program.
Right.
So our success story is invisible, thank goodness. But we do hear stories, anecdotally and official, from schools where the child has said things like, KidSafe told me that I'm supposed to come to you when I don't feel comfortable, which means they're truly hearing the real message that they don't feel comfortable and they've got the right to go get help. And parents who have received our parent education, which was always through seminars on site at the schools and now is on the KidSafe website, which I'll talk more about later, learn the tools to stay calm. It's imperative that when a child discloses anything, that you are the first line of healing, which means showing a calm face, which is hard for parents. In fact, fathers especially seem to voice, over the years, I'll kill anybody that hurts you. And it actually makes the kids scared to come disclose. So we teach parents really good skills. We have also taught seminars, as everyone knows, out in the community to the child serving professionals. We have written seminars specifically for the healthcare community. Of course, for teachers, we spent 10 years going on site and teaching the teachers at the schools, especially where the children were getting the education, how to really recognize, respond to, and report abuse, and also how to teach boundaries to children. We know that a preschool teacher who puts a child on the lap is not doing anything nefarious. They're being loving. But it's better, as they get them ready for other situations, that they teach them the boundaries of their own body. So we've done that. We have created, just last year, new was KidSafe, which is a camp counselor training program that goes out all over the country. It was being utilized by many camps, and then we know what happened with COVID and camps in particular.
Sure.
But even local camps and local groups that were online took the training to learn better.
Who is the training for? It's for the camp staff?
Is for the camp staff, counselors, owners, and it gets them clear about the boundaries and in the various ways that disclosures either occur or where you can see the red flags. So we are developing Learn Safe that I'll talk about a little more today, because
Hmm.
Learn Safe is for all of you parents right now that are COVID classrooming, meaning your home is a classroom. You never expected this in your life. And you're leaning on outsiders to watch your kids. Some people have developed pods, some
Hmm.
people have hired tutors, and it's a whole new world. So those are our education.
Hmm. Okay, and those tools can be found on your website.
Please go to www.kidsafefoundation.org, and all that training is there. Learn Safe will be up probably next week for all parents. We know you've needed it right now. We've been responding as quickly as possible, but it will be an online PowerPoint seminar you can take and just feel a little more confident and be more prepared how to handle the fact that maybe your child is sharing a classroom with a good friend, which can lead to strange conversations while being online. We just want to help all you parents.
Sure, sure. So how long has KidSafe existed?
KidSafe has been around officially as a company for almost 11 years now. Prior to that, one of our co-founders, Cherie Ben Joseph, was teaching the education out in the community. Her story is one based from being a counselor in schools and a
Hmm.
child disclosing to her. And she did all the right things, and it was a true disclosure, and the person was caught, apprehended, and put in jail. But what made her want to teach prevention education was finding out why the child finally disclosed, and it was to protect someone else. And we hear this story often, and it's very awe-inducing because you go, oh my God, that's so touching. But I think what I love what she did and why I came on board was that she said, it's not enough that you would tell for someone else. There's something children aren't being taught.
Hmm.
It's more important. And that is, you should tell for you.
Right.
And that's where this grew. So it's been out in the community being taught for many years, but
Hmm.
it's been officially a KidSafe program for 11 years. I've been with KidSafe for 4. We're all surprised how fast the time flies. Oh my.
Yes. So what is your background? What did you do before you came to KidSafe? I'm curious, I'm sure everybody would
Sure.
like to hear more about that.
And this is always fun for me too, because I love the expressions. I do not have a nonprofit background. I have a solidly for-profit background in sales, HR. I've always cared about culture and that external messages of companies match their internal message, because they don't always, and they don't even
Hmm.
know that they're doing that. I met Cherie, and I have known Sally for many years, so I knew about KidSafe and I loved it. And I met with Cherie as she was needing some help. They were growing the company.
Hmm.
And I told her, I listened to it, and I'm going to be very honest with all of you listening. I went, I love what you do. I can't work in nonprofit. It's not for me. I can't afford that life. It's too dedicated. It's too stressful. I said, I'll give you 1 year. I'll come on board for 1 year, and I will help you with strategy and growth, and really focusing on what our impact needs to be and
Hmm.
how we become better for our funders, which are we're just the stewards of their money. And that was 4 years ago. This will sound familiar to everybody because it was 4 years ago, and now I'm CEO, and I can't imagine doing anything out in the profit world now. That's you get bit, right? And you can't leave.
Right.
So, and I just also love the impact because,
Sure.
especially during now, Jennifer, you'll appreciate this, and everyone else is listening, worried about their business. I'm not saying laying the head on the pillow is easy at night with COVID, but I
Sure.
do get to lay it on the head, my head on the pillow, knowing I'm fighting to help children be safe and resilient.
No, absolutely. And we're really, proud to be able to help you in those efforts.
Agreed.
What kind of staff do you have there? How many people are on board, helping to do this kind of work?
I have the most amazing staff, and I know everybody says that, and everybody says, but I really mean it, but I really mean it. Of course, Cherie Ben Joseph and Sally Berensweig were the founders of the company,
Mhm.
and Sally gave many good years to running it in development, and she has moved on to, she and I switched. She went into the profit world to get a break from caring about this all these years. And
Sure.
Cherie, as exhausted as she is, we haven't let her go yet. She has been creating all this new programming. And in fact, there's a couple more ways of new programming I want to get back to in a minute.
Sure.
But she is heading up all that, and it's been an incredible challenge. She works with Elise Dion, our program manager.
Mhm.
If some of the schools, anyone from schools are listening, they know her name because she was the logistics person on making sure that schools got as much for their dollar as they could get for the funding and the basic how it's going to run and facing all the programs. Eliza Vasquez and Lisa Ashley make up our development department.
Mhm.
And they're also, you've heard their names, they're our stewardship. They believe, as I do, in as much communication as a funder or the community will allow us. We would talk every day with everybody if we could.
Sure.
Um, we have amazing volunteers. I have Jennifer Rodriguez, who is our admin that makes sure we're all doing things right and keeps track of all that horrible yearly legal stuff you have to do as a nonprofit. That's a shocker for the profit world, all the paperwork. Uh, and then we have some amazing volunteers, Dan, Susan, Patty,
Mhm.
that literally give 1 to 2 days in the office.
Okay.
And we couldn't run without them. And if I'm forgetting some staff, we have Jessica, our bookkeeper. We have, if I've forgotten any staff, oh my God, I will literally come back on and apologize. But our team is amazing. Our board, Lynn Keelan's our board chair,
Mhm.
and the board has been amazing during COVID, and I hope everybody's board has been as amazing during COVID.
Sure.
I wish that for everyone.
Sure. So how many schools does
Oh, and our
KidSafe work
instructors,
with?
I'm sorry. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, all our instructors go into the schools. They're going to absolutely kill me, but I was thinking in office. The instructors are who have gone out into the community and taught it at the schools. Oh my God, they're the heart of this whole thing.
Okay. How many instructors do you have?
We have about 10, and it's been interesting during COVID because they can't go into schools and probably won't be back in schools uh, for a while. That's the truth of it. But
Sure.
we've transitioned their skill set because they know what they're teaching. They are all educators themselves, and they have been helping writing our new Kids Safe for Kids in School program. I know
Okay.
you want to talk about that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Tell me, tell me about that.
So prior to COVID, we knew that we were very proud. We reach approximately 5,000 children per year, and then more than that in adults, but obviously their families and their siblings with books. And that is a fantastic number. But we knew that to really make an impact where, let's use Palm Beach County School District as an example, where all the kids are getting this language instead of just the schools we can find the money to go into.
Right.
We had to become more accessible, and that means online. And I know that that breaks some people's hearts, but it is where we're going, and I think we've
Sure.
really seen it with COVID. So we are creating a program that will teach about an hour and a half lesson, plug and play for the teachers, either in the classroom, they can do it and facilitate it, or children online can access it and they can facilitate it as a group later,
Okay.
from grades K through fifth, that they can get an hour and a half of programming consistently year to year that helps them. It will build on what they've learned the year before, gets them ready, not only reaches more people with all the same programming we've taught, but
Mhm.
gets them ready for the fact that Palm Beach County has mandated child trafficking education. And it
Mhm.
gets pretty technical by middle school and high school about rights. And those rights are wonderful. We're really glad they're being taught, but rights mean nothing to a child
Sure.
that hasn't taught. Those rights apply to me. All rights apply to me and my inner voice. And so we're very excited about that. And our instructors have been helping creating. It's going to be animated
Mhm.
and on a platform easily accessible,
Mhm.
and just get to more more and more children and provide a consistent message, then when a district adopts this training,
Sure.
all the children are learning the same message. All the teachers are learning training that is the same boundaries, the same language. And they really learn that all the district wants a school-wide community of safety for children. So
Hmm.
we're very excited about that new programming.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. And your KidSafe is an approved, I don't know what the language is, but you're an approved like educator, I guess, within
Approved vendor educator,
for Palm
and
Beach County.
for Palm Beach County, and we're approved to fall within the child trafficking mandate. So our education is great. This new way, and we're still going to go into the classrooms because it's imperative,
Sure.
especially we want every school that can do it, have us come in and teach those kindergartners, because on site for 8 weeks, even if we do a 4-week plan, which we also can do, it's really great for the kids to get it that way. But this way, with at least with the hour and a half available, they can, all the grades get it, instead of right now at schools we're either 1 grade or 2 grades
Mhm.
where we can repeat. And that's great. We get all the kids that way at least 1 to 2 years, but this will be yearly. So it's very
Okay.
exciting. But please know we will still be going into those schools because our on-site education is beloved and essential.
Sure. Sure. So obviously you work in Palm Beach County. If someone wanted to bring you to their school, is there like a process for that, or how would that work?
Absolutely. So every year we pedal to get as much funding as we can to go into the schools. Thank you, JWF. You are one of the ones, you know this, for the last few years, we've been able to go into schools because of you.
Sure.
So whenever there's funding, we will go in and provide as much as we can. If we can do 2 grades, that's awesome, or 1. Also, PTAs can reach out to us and have us come in. We've been sponsored by PTAs for many years in a couple of counties. And we also do fee for service for private schools. Preschools pay to have us come in because it's not too young to start when you're a pre-K4 to be talking about boundaries. They
Sure.
just have to reach out to us it's on the website. It even says, ask us on every page, reach out to us. Info at KidSafe or KidSafeFoundation.org is another
Mhm.
way. But we do everything we can to work with you with funding. We help you find funding any way we can to get in. We're just excited when a school reaches out. We'll do everything we can to help. And we just see huge potential with this online of being able
Sure.
to reach even more.
Sure. Sure. So do you go into schools outside of Palm Beach County?
Mhm. We do. We've been as many years in Broward and as many schools.
Hmm.
We have not reached other counties just because of logistics. So I have about 10 instructors, as I told you. And if we were to go into every school, I'm a nonprofit. I can't hire 100 instructors. It's just not
Sure.
feasible. So what we're most excited, in addition to just hitting more schools within the Palm Beach County, we can hit all those counties that have been asking us, like Miami-Dade, to come in for years and haven't been able to. So this program will be statewide for the mandate, and we'd love to take it national so that national sales of it can fund and get it free here every year. That's our dream. That's what we're building.
Okay. So the platform, is there still a fee that's associated with it, I guess, for the schools or for the individual classes?
Yes, we run right now, and we're going to be looking at our pricing because based on what comes in from this, pricing changes. But we've been historically at about $600 a classroom, and that, after you get over the gas, that's 8 weeks of coming into the 20 children, a half an hour of education. It comes to
Okay.
$3 a child to get the
Okay.
education.
Okay.
So that's why it's so affordable for PTAs. But again, it's affordable for PTAs to bring into 1 or 2 classrooms.
Right.
Whereas
Sure.
this new model, it really will help. The kids know they get it every year. Teachers can integrate it. We're going to provide ways for teachers to keep the conversation going. Important topics like, and I'm sorry, my slideshow went away, but on our website,
You can probably pull it back up if you want
I
to.
probably could. So I may work on that as we talk. But we do, oh yeah, I can. So let me try to pull that back up in a minute. But the Circle of Safe Adults is the hallmark of what we do. And what I
What
urge,
is that?
so I urge everyone to go online and check this out and download it and work on it, because children are told by loving parents and family all the time, you can come to me with anything. And without knowing it, we send a lot of messages that say the opposite.
Mhm.
Even, I've learned this at KidSafe, a poker face, even, let's say your child comes home and says, I don't think I did so good on the test. I am a huge reactor by face. So I used to go, oh my gosh, but you studied so hard, thinking I was an incredible support. And
Mhm.
after working with Cherie, she taught me to say, tell me more about that. And I learned a lot.
Mhm.
Kids Circle of Safe Adults is a more instructional version of tell me more about that. And here's what I mean. If we get with our children that they can fire off at a moment's notice the 3 or 4 safe adults that they would tell anything to, and
Mhm.
that means happy, it means uncomfortable, uh, and we make them review it by drawing it and putting it
Mhm.
on the refrigerator and talking about it,
Mhm.
it becomes rote to them, like stop, drop, and roll. So with this group of people that they know as their go-to,
Mhm.
they become more confident that it's going to help me, it's okay, it's confirmed.
Mhm.
And parents can go to the people that are in that and really talk about it in a sophisticated way and say, you've been selected as one of my child's circle of safe adults. And here's what that means. I'd love you to go on the KidSafe website and get familiar with the language she's learning.
Mhm.
I'd love for you to get together with her once a month that's separate from anything else you do. And you just sit and have an ice cream
Mhm.
and talk about the positive things. And maybe then something they're uncomfortable about will come out. We all love to think that our children know they can come to us because we say it.
Sure.
This is a different thing than coming out of your mouth. This is them physically, tactily writing this down and you reviewing it. And I say review it every year. The staff here has had Elise and Cherie and Sally have all had children go off to college. And
Sure.
no lie, the children started talking about who they go to. It's a lifelong thing. I always tell people my favorite thing about Circle of Safe Adults is nobody can get help, me included as an adult, if I don't have someone to go to that I trust.
Sure.
And the Circle of Safe Adult things, God willing, y'all practice it every year in your family and nothing happens to your child. But one day they're going to be graduating from college and choosing between 2 jobs. Wouldn't it be nice to call that person on your Circle of Safe Adults and
Mhm.
talk about it and talk about how you're feeling about it and where you're comfortable and uncomfortable? It is a lifelong skill that even we've got 42 million survivors walking around right now, and they're struggling because they don't, as adults, even right now, maybe have a circle of safe adults that they can get help
Sure.
from. So
Sure. No, that's very powerful. And the circle is also located in the back of one of the books.
it is, it's in the books. We want people to do the books with the kids. So My Body is Special and Belongs to Me is available for sale on the website. We provide it whenever we can as part of the programming.
Mhm.
We write grants with the book in there because My Body is Special and Belongs to Me is the whole core of boundaries, self-empowerment,
Sure.
and safety. And if children can learn that they have these rights with their body, then that's everything. They understand what word uncomfortable is, because we find that little kids, when we say when something makes you feel uncomfortable, they don't know what that means. So we talk
Right.
about hair pulling. We talk about someone tickling you that starts out so fun, and if it doesn't stop, that's uncomfortable. We don't, as most of you know if you've had the program, we don't go into the schools at all talking about sexual abuse, and the book doesn't talk about it either.
Right.
But we talk about the things that stop all those childhood traumas that occur because the child doesn't know what they have rights to say no to.
Sure. Sure. And so I have a copy of the books also that I think that Sally must have given me a few years ago. And so I actually have read through them with my kids, and I,
Wonderful.
had them do the circle and put names in there and things like that. So
Yeah, just
I,
keep reviewing. I tell everybody the Circle of Safe Adult is not a one-time discussion. It's a constant discussion, and especially with the people that are in the Circle of Safe Adults.
sure.
You're right. Those books are fabulous. And if you go onto the website, we have a video under the parenting section of Cherie reading the book. So
Mm,
everyone has access to this book. We make sure of it. But it's great if you can buy it too and have your child have a copy and have them read it often. It's a great help. So I also want to say, because it's all coming to me now, we also have KidSafe Espanol, which is a new program.
mm,
Melissa Maya, I forgot to mention her under the list. She's a new employee who is heading up our Spanish speaking program.
that's great.
She's going to be going into the community and doing seminars with we have a lot of people here who have moved here,
Mhm.
who their children are living with extended family, and sometimes it's not even real family. And the cultural differences on childhood safety are very interesting. In the book, My Body is Special, you'll remember there's a time when we tell, don't force your children to hug grandma and grandpa.
Yes.
Culturally, at our seminars, this causes an immense discussion. Again, we tell people, talk to your extended family about what safety is and explain to Abuela, you're not cutting her off.
Right.
You're just giving permission for the child to own their own body. I remember I grew up in Texas at a time when women's rights, forget about it. What's that? And I remember coming home and telling my parents that I had been asked out by a guy that really made me feel creepy. And they said, oh my gosh, but can you imagine how hard it was for him to ask you? You can go.
Right.
We send those messages out all the time that your
Right.
feelings matter less than someone else's. We don't want grandma to be upset. She flew all
Right.
this way.
Right.
You have to hug her. That's potent. That is potent.
Sure. Sure. And since you brought that up, Laura, I want to ask you, is there a gender lens component to the work that you do, or do you see a difference between how girls are socialized, culturally or by their family, and a difference in how girls maybe respond to some of what you're teaching them versus boys?
Certainly. That's a great point. We even face it sometimes when I meet funders and we talk about the statistics of how many boys and girls, 1 in 4 girls, 1 in 6. We're kind of safer saying 1 in 10 now. And remember, that is just reported. That's not unreported, because I
Sure.
guarantee all you women, I'll mention women, if you go out with 4 of your friends to dinner, by the end of the night, somebody's telling
Yeah.
you. The lens is skewed. Our education is not. It is definitely about the boundaries with both genders. It happens to both. Everyone is taught on some level that their feelings are less than the other person's, and so you got to keep your mouth shut. But you're right. It is a woman problem in how society still teaches us. I mean, we still are telling women to smile when we see them.
Right.
We don't tell a guy to smile.
Right.
So while this is a whole gender issue, the nice thing about the education early is being taught the same thing is about respect to others, right?
Mhm.
So as children get older, I teach my daughter, for example, and she won't see this, but if she ever did, she'd be so mortified that this came out that I teach her this. But like, I teach her about the situation as she moves forward into her adulthood and
Sure.
sexuality, that boys are now being taught correctly to really listen, and no means no, right?
Right.
But girls, as a mother of a girl, I am teaching her to say no only when she means no. And if she decides it's yes, please don't say no. I was kind of taught you say no and you coquettishly then
Sure.
acquiesce, but you say no so that you look right, so that
Right.
I teach my daughter, don't say no, because they're being taught no is no. And by the way, go home, drop her off. No.
Right. Right.
And if you mean yes, then say yes. I hope all genders are starting to learn an honest communication,
Mhm.
and that's what KidSafe teaches, that boundaries are boundaries no matter the gender, and the lens of gender norms has got to be looked at different. I'm 57. I don't mind telling people that, because what I like about sharing that is I grew up with strong gender roles and I still fight them. But my
Sure.
world was rocked when I took a very effective sociology course over at FAU that said the more gender roles you have in any given society, the more women are oppressed.
Right.
And I started realizing that the better we get with these roles just being thrown away and being honest,
Mhm.
children and women will be safer, and then men will be safer.
Sure. Sure.
I'm
And
sorry,
then,
I
and
get
then I think
emphatic on that.
also, no, I think it's really important. It obviously, echoes a lot of what we believe at JWF, and um, is a thread in really all the projects that we fund, I think. So, I mean, so we had Coaching Boys into Men is one of the programs that we fund. Futures Without Violence is the organization, and we had two of their staff people on a few months ago on one of our Impact Tuesdays webinar. And the program that we're funding through them is a program that's aimed at boys in middle school and high school to teach them about respect and consent and all those issues. So essentially that they grow up to be good partners and to not become abusers. And I do think it's really important what you're talking about, both the girls and the boys getting this kind of education, because it also is going to impact how they treat other people, right? So not just being safe for themselves, but also how they will be, as they get older and become adults.
Jennifer, you said it all right there, and I love that program that you're doing. Um, we used to have bullying in our mission, and
Mhm.
absolutely, our program teaching self-empowerment stops bullying. But a lot of times we were misunderstood, and people would come in and say, I just want you to do an education on bullying. It's really bad in our school right now.
Right.
And we're knowing now that doesn't work. Even some of the people that teach bullying are
Sure.
using different languages. But you're 100% right in that how you treat someone else is about how you're treating yourself. And that goes back to that story of Cherie, the founder, saying, oh, I don't love the reason she divulged, right? Which started this whole
Yeah.
program. It should have been for her. And how do
Right.
we teach that? And that's all this is, because you don't bully someone if you aren't in pain. And you don't bully someone if you have a voice. And you
Sure.
don't sexually abuse someone 99% of the time if you weren't abused
Mm.
and harmed. And this is the only way we can prevent it, is through
Mhm.
education. There's a lot of statistics that float out there about what education does with prevention, and some of them aren't really true, or they've been kind of patched together. But
Okay.
we do know that education helps resiliency and stop cycles, even if something happens to you.
Mm.
Um, that's our goal, is a
Mhm.
resilient adult. Um, the CDC has finally come out that ischemic heart disease, adult onset diabetes, we know eating disorders, these happen because of childhood trauma.
Mm.
Even if you aren't, well, I really care about that and I want to fix it. And let's say you're a real financial person and you don't like where all the money is going in the United States right now. The amount we spend on healthcare that is really traumatized people, the amount of money we spend on a system to either incarcerate or assist
Mhm.
traumatized people, there's an argument right there. One of the funders we work with, Focus for Health, they really developed, they were working with one of their grantees on
Mhm.
finding out why women were in jail and how to help them. And it was over 90% of them had been sexually abused as a
Right.
child.
Yes, I have certainly heard that.
I you don't have to be a crazy left liberal to know this is a bad use of our dollars and our resources, the human resource part of it. Wasted individuals that can't contribute to society, and more importantly, that live a life of injury their entire life.
Mm.
We have
Yeah,
to
no,
stop
I
to
agree. It's
get
so
this.
true that the trauma precedes so many other terrible life outcomes. So it is really important. And I appreciate you pointing out the connection to eating disorders,
Yes.
because we actually are funding a new program this year with the Alliance for Eating Disorders Awareness that's specifically focused on educating doctors and other healthcare workers to be able to be more thorough when they're treating patients, to ask them about their background as it relates to sexual abuse and other types of trauma. So
Oh, that's fantastic.
yeah.
It's funny. I always said, so I'm a survivor of childhood trauma, and I always said that I didn't have a food issue from that. I was really lucky. And one of my traumas was that I had a very ill and absent mother who didn't feed me well. So that was always in the head, that a good mom feeds her kids. And the other day, I love telling this story to people because it's a new discovery for me. You work at a child sexual abuse nonprofit, and every day you learn you about yourself.
Sure.
And I asked my daughter at dinner, I said, how's dinner? And her shoulders dropped and she did this. And I realized every night I was asking her to heal little Laura, who'd been traumatized. I mean, food, disorders, anorexia, all of the disorders. I can't wait to see your program and see where I can help you on it and work with you on it. That's so exciting, because the trauma of childhood trauma, the adult survivor trying to do a better job every day sometimes does things that are actually worse on the kid than
Sure.
I was making her hate mealtime is what I'm trying to connect to.
Sure.
What
Yeah.
we do. So I learned to do a poker face and say, tell me more. But then at dinner, I was begging her to approve the mothering that I was doing as a result of my trauma. So
Right. Sure.
that's to me the next step I want to see for KidSafe. I really, everyone that I work with here knows that I love the prevention and the training children. I wish someone had been able to say some of these things to me.
Sure.
We can't do a focus group. We can't take me back in time and see if it had worked. But I think I would have believed in myself more and not have had to get to 40 before I believed in myself. But I really, by this time next year, Jennifer, I hope that I am talking to everyone, talking about the emotional wellness lessons we have for the 42 million survivors that are just trying to be better parents while keeping our kids safe, but not making them scared, while feeding our children now well, but not making them hate dinner time.
Right.
By showing we care if we had absentee parents without in their face over exaggerated.
So you're thinking about some kind of educational program for adults.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that sounds great. And I think that, as a parent, I think it's always great to have additional tools to be a better parent and to be more self-aware, of our behaviors and how that's impacting our kids. So
that's all it is. If adults and children just get more aware with more skills, and literally that means how do you do it? And I've done it too. I came to Cherie after I'd been working a while, and I'd already taught my daughter the importance of, not the importance of, but her body parts using the proper name. And I didn't grow up like that. So it was a challenge to me. And I asked Cherie, I said, listen, I think I do it ridiculously, because I'm either trying to show I'm so comfortable with the word that I slide in the kitchen a la Risky Business and go, hey, how's your, name the body part, or I say it where I drop my voice, how's your,
right.
She gave me in less than 60 seconds, oh, during bath time is a great time, because you can just say, I'm washing your elbow. Here, I'm going to wash your arm. Okay, stand up. Let's wash your vagina. And you get to say it with a normal tone.
Sure.
I was someone who thought I had dealt with all this stuff and I didn't know when to do it. Everybody needs an exact how-to. Doesn't mean you're not a skilled parent.
Sure.
That you just want to know, how do I exactly say that? So we are working on that. We're trying to create videos that just say, here's how you say it. Just say it exactly like this. When they come to you and say, I think I made a bad grade, that supportive face isn't supportive to them. It shows it to you. You feel like you're showing that you care and that you knew they'd studied.
Sure.
They're more supportive with, oh, tell me more about that.
That's really helpful. I mean, do you think that you can impart a couple more helpful tips maybe for our parents who are listening right now?
Sure. Actually, I just froze when you said it. Could I impart a couple of more, was it tips?
Yeah, a couple tips for those of for our attendees who are parents, and maybe even, grandparents, or just have kids in their life, like maybe some tips to be helpful of, things that maybe are not intuitive, that we think that we're doing correctly, but maybe that you see are often, not the best way of handling things.
Exactly. So all of them come back to, and this is hard for us, my group and everyone younger, has wanted to show the love for our children on our faces, and it's actually burdened them a little bit. I tell my daughter all the time, and sometimes her shoulders drop, and it's burdensome. So they always come back to poker face. And I will tell you a prevention story that worked. So a school called us and said that a girl had come to her parents and said, KidSafe told me I should come to you.
Mm.
The parents had had the training, and they said they fought every bone in their body to get upset, and they kept a blank face. And the child disclosed something with the babysitter. It turned out not to be nefarious, but she had been uncomfortable.
Okay.
And they handled it without the dad saying, I'm going to go kill him, or I'm going to take care of this, which is, again, I'm going to say it again for you dads. It absolutely keeps kids from telling you things because they are scared you are going to get hurt. They are scared you're going to do something stupid. They are scared they're going to burden you. So that poker face, if you can start practicing it on anything, it feels counterintuitive to parenting the way we're parenting.
Sure.
But boy, I have gotten a better relation. I'm going to be honest. I have become a better parent with the poker face. No matter what she says, the first thing I do is keep a still face and go, how'd you handle that? So she came to me and she told me about a friend doing some destructive behavior. And I held my face frozen and I said, well, tell me more. By the time she told me the story, she had told someone that was the appropriate adult. She had extricated herself out of all the things I would have told her to do. And I didn't have to tell her because I had been practicing for a good 3 years. Tell me more about that. And what I found without her telling me is that she had learned to start saying a version of tell me more about that myself. So when I give a tip to parent, it is always from the place of stay calm. You are their first step in healing, no matter what they're telling you.
Okay.
That calm face is everything.
So I have another question, and this is, so not as a parent, let's say you're one of those people that's on some child's right circle, and a child comes to you and tells you something important. What is the KidSafe approach to that? Because you want to help them without violating their trust with them coming to you. So how does someone handle that?
Absolutely. And you did ask me this. I'm sorry. I forgot the question by the time I started talking. What we teach about disclosure is, first and foremost, it is the first step in healing for a child because of all they have worked through to come tell you. So again, whether it's parent, whether it is a child serving professional, a child serving non-professional, a babysitter, if something is disclosed to you, the first thing you can say is a statement of, I believe you, and I'm going to do what I can to get you help. You don't promise that they'll be safe. You don't get upset. And yet, the first thing we want to do is go kill someone, right? We want to go get that person.
Sure.
But the first thing you can do is stay calm and name the facts. That is, I'm going to get you help. That you can say because you are. If they say, do you promise you won't tell? You're honest. You say, I can't promise something that won't keep you safe. I hear what you're saying, but number one is, I believe you. I believe you, and I'm going to get you help. Yeah. And then you stay with that child till you do. If you need to report it on our website, you'll see all the places to report. And you report it. If you are at a school volunteering, get the teacher's help. Okay. All this, by the way, by next year, I want us to also have the same training for what I call child serving non-professionals. All the parents out there that are PTA moms, whenever they're finally allowed back in the classroom, to know this in case they hear something that's just not right. They know how to talk about it. But a calm face, and the only thing you can promise is that you're going to get them help. But you're not going to promise their safety, and you're not going to say, don't ask questions. Don't say, what did they say to you? What did they do? Legally, when this gets pursued, if it turns out to be something, if you've asked questions, you're now part of the group of 3 people that can question, the 3 sets of questions they can get. I might be wrong on that number 3. Please forgive me. Cherie's probably flipping over right now. But you are, if you ask questions that are details, you become part of the people that have officially questioned. Don't
Mm.
ask questions. You can say, tell me more. But the main thing is just say, I believe you, and don't dig further, because it doesn't matter what else happened. At this point, the child has shared that they are uncomfortable, even if they don't have verbiage you understand or agree with or believe. You tell them you believe them, and you go get them help from people that know how to handle the rest.
Thank you. That's so helpful, I think, for those of us listening to hear that. Just another reminder, so we have about 13 minutes left. If anyone has a question, please go ahead and submit it through the Q&A feature. So something else I was wondering, so does KidSafe work with law enforcement?
We do. In fact, one of the new programs that Sharia is going to be doing within the next few months is through the Broward SROs, the Student Resource Officers.
Okay.
She's doing a training, and we have a long history of working with the police. In addition to them funding our book printing so that we can get them out in the
Okay.
community, we have taught ChildNet. We have taught the anyone who works with the police. I would love to get one day where police have a book in their car always to give out. There's so much more we want to do with the school resource officers, because I do believe while they never should be drawn in the circle of safe adults, because that's not what the point of that is. It's not
Sure.
trusted adults you can go to. It's people you have a relationship with. They are an important safety part of society. And right now we're going through a heck of a time. I believe they're going through a heck of a time, is wondering how to stay a good part of society and show that they do care about safety. This is a real nasty time, but they are important to children's safety as we move forward, and hopefully get to where, with voices of children getting louder and believed that things will happen good if they tell, that police play an important role in that. And they do have to be educated to see when they go to a place, are there signs? What are the signs? We welcome working with the police departments on that.
That's really great. So I see that Cherie is listening in.
Oh, she can talk if you can.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just allow her to talk and see if she wants to
She'll
add
have stuff to
anything.
add. She'll have stuff to add, and that will make me very happy.
Okay, Cherie, you are unmuted, so thanks for for listening in. So yeah, I would just love to hear from you, Cherie. That, since this is really so much of what you do, if you have anything you want to add to what Laura's been saying.
Well, good morning, everybody. How is everybody doing? Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have a picture of myself up. Okay, I see my name.
Well, we can hear you.
Yes,
Oh, there's so much to talk about. Laura, thank you so much for this wonderful presentation you're doing regarding KidSafe. It's so exciting to hear from a different perspective. So I would love to jump in and add a tip to add on to what Laura said regarding disclosure. Because one of the things that we tend to do was what Laura was saying, was we overreact to things. And the first thing that I would love parents to say when a child tells them anything, small issue, big issue, I failed a math test, to I'm really upset and angry about something, to I got a touch that was confusing to me, is I'm really glad you told me.
yes.
Just as simple as that. And then you give a pregnant pause. And that's how you start really developing communication. So much of our parenting communication is us talking at our children versus actually listening to them process themselves. And we want thinkers. We want our children to become self-aware, self-confident, and able to make decisions on their own. And the best way for them to do it is to be a really good listener as an adult. And another way to do that with children is to play the what if game, to help them process how they would problem solve. And keep in mind that at KidSafe, no matter what we're teaching, we teach from a place of fun, not fear. And that's another thing that people need to be careful about when they're looking at programs regarding teaching safety, is that we're not on a mission to scare kids. Our world is scary enough as it is. We are on a mission,
especially now.
especially now. So we're on a mission to raise them up, empower them, but that's fluff. We want to give them skills. That's how you really empower a child. They
Sure.
walk away with actual life skills that can help them make better, safer, and what we refer to as safer and smarter choices. So one of the things that we can do is play the what if game. And it could be as simple as, what if you're on a play date, you're at someone's house, and the parents are going at each other. They're angry, they're fighting together, and you feel uncomfortable. What do? And do you hear how I'm asking the question? I have a calm voice. I'm pretty chill. I'm not saying, okay, and oh my God, if they start fighting, this is what you should do. You hear the difference in the presentation?
Sure.
So teaching from a place of calm instills a sense of calm and confidence in your child. Now, they might come back with the absolute wrong answer, which might be, oh, I'm going to go hide behind the couch with Lily, you know, and that's not exactly what we want them to do. But you let them talk it out, and you don't say, oh my God, honey, don't do that. You say, okay, well, that's one idea. Let's talk about a few more. And then you work them towards what you need to teach them. And that's a very empowering experience.
Yeah, thank you for that.
For children.
So Sherry, since I have you here, something else I wanted to ask, you know, given how technology is now, and social media and all of that, and so many kids have access to smartphones and laptops and tablets and all kinds of other things that keep them connected. It certainly, I think, adds another layer of challenge for parents. I can certainly say that for myself. And I know that, you know, because of our work with trafficking, we've certainly seen how social media has made trafficking, you know, just exacerbated that, I think, with, you know, access to kids and predatory behavior. So how is KidSafe addressing, you know, the technology piece, you know, with your educational programs?
Great question, Jennifer. So to me, parents today have a whole added component to their parenting skills. And digital safety is now from age 0 on up. It's just going to be part of your everyday parenting.
Right.
So before I forget this, I'm going to say that on our website, within our blogs, if you put in internet, if you put in cell phone, you will find blogs that are related to this topic, which literally will walk a parent through having communication.
Oh, sorry. There we go.
There.
Oh, I'm sorry, I seem to have lost you for a second.
No, I just upgraded you to a panelist. So.
Oh, okay. So on these blogs, on our website, are very, very specific instructions and agreement lists. We have a digital social media agreement that you can go over with your child. And what I want parents to do with these documents that we have on our website is not just to like read them the riot act and have them sign a paper. That is not what we're looking for.
Right.
Use these as discussions and don't do it all at once. But we have a very specific blog that you will love that do with when is it time to give my child full reign on, you know, on an iPad, when we're talking about our third graders, our second graders, our first graders. It is really, really important that we start having these conversations about their safety right off the bat. So to us, it's setting up structure. It's all about setting up structure and wanting, hold on one second. Sorry, I see you made me a panelist. I am not dressed for this, but I will put on my video anyway.
Yay.
Oh, you look fine.
No one cares.
The idea is to actually set up structure. So just like I hope that someone wouldn't leave their child in front of a television for 6 hours at a time. The television is a screen, the phone is a screen, the iPad's a screen, the computer's a screen. I'm not talking about school hours. I'm talking about all these other times that our children are online. That we have a right as parents to create safety and structure. And that's just the beginning. And we ask that parents start this at a very young age, so you're not pulling something away from an 11-year-old. That's much more difficult. Set up a situation that everybody at 7 o'clock, if there's dinner time, You put those phones on the kitchen counter, they're all plugged in for power. And depending on the age of the child, it sleeps there the rest of the night. It does not go into the bedrooms with the
And
children.
parents have to do it too.
And parents have to do it too. Absolutely. Absolutely. No technology at the dinner table. Seriously, you're absolutely right. It's so important. And then there's just so many other aspects. Children need to understand that having technology is a privilege, not a right. And when we present it that way, we don't really want to punish them by taking it away when they make a mistake. We really want to make sure that that's a conversation. What have we learned from this? If we're taking away the technology every time that they actually are good and disclose to us something that happened, Mommy, I saw something online. It really was disgusting. It scared me. And you get angry because they went on that website, potentially by accident, maybe on purpose. It doesn't matter. You lose the teachable moment. And we want to keep that teachable moment. So pulling things away, depending on what the situation is not always the right answer. Talking about what happened, what have we learned from this? How do we feel about it? And now what are we going to do to prevent that from happening again is really the key.
To your point, Cherie, it's if you've done the what if prior to them having their time on the iPad, let's say, the what if game has addressed this.
Yeah. And then using that along the way, because when you go through the agreement or we have a cell phone agreement to go through when you're giving your child a phone, and it has to do with politeness. It has to do with everything, not just safety, because it all really goes together.
Sure.
The idea is that you're opening up lines of communication. And if we want to keep our kids safe, the best way we're going to do that is to raise children that actually feel comfortable approaching us. So we talk about, from KidSafe, we say, we want to become approachable parents. So in some of our other blogs, we talk about, well, how do we do that? I wasn't necessarily raised with what we would refer to today as an approachable parent. You know, my parents were busy. Honestly, my parents were working. I didn't really see them. We were in the 70s. We raised ourselves. You know, we were a little pack of wolves out in the street till God knows what time at night, just as we joke. And I'm also a big believer, and people are shocked by this, I hate helicopter parenting. We are crippling children by becoming helicopter parents. That is not what KidSafe teaches. We teach skills so that when we send our children off at young ages to do various milestone things, we feel confident that we've done what we needed to do so that they will make safe and smart choices. Now, will they make mistakes along the way? For sure. And then, okay, let's talk about it. How do we not learn if we don't let our kids make mistakes?
Sure.
Hopefully not life-threatening, but you know, such is life, right? We are all here because we made mistakes along the way, you know, and stuff happens. Right. So really, I hope that people, if you know, who are watching and who listen to this, will utilize that that opportunity on the website, because that is where we start talking about it. On our trainings, we talk about these types of things. And we can even provide Zoom trainings to small groups, and you know, on Zoom, a parent group gets together. That would be so much fun to have these types of conversations. That is how we make change.
Yes.
Okay, so we're just coming up on 11. Again, I would love to share the website with everyone who's watching, so people can go and find resources. So it's, go ahead, I'll let you give us your website.
www.kidsafefoundation.org.
Okay, and if anyone on the call has a question or wants to follow up about something, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
info@kidsafefoundation.org. That email will be answered. You can reach out to me, Laura, at kidsafefoundation.org, but info is great because your question will be answered. We're here anytime. I'm actually in the office. You can call our office. You can reach out to us at any time, but the website is the great place to start. It's got some wonderful training. It's got some of the tips that Cherie mentioned. They really are helpful. I want every parent to remember, if you ask somebody, but what's the best way to say it? You're not weak. You're a strong parent. You're a really strong parent.
Thank you. So thank you so much, Laura and Cherie. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Towards the end, it's so helpful. We're so happy to be able to support the work that you do.
Thank you. And we couldn't do it without you. So that's fantastic. Symbiotic relationship.
And so for anyone listening to learn more about JWF's other grantees and the work that we do, you can visit us on our website at jwfpalmbeach.org. As always, I do like to remind everyone that right now we are not charging for our events, but we still do need to get support and keep moving forward to be able to do this kind of work. So donations are appreciated. You can also do that through our website. Our next Impact Tuesdays webinar is going to be in 2 weeks, and we will be talking about the Florida Women's Funding Alliance. So I hope everyone is doing as well as possible, and I will see you soon. So thank you so much and take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.